Salutations, creeps. Doc back at ya for another shitty Monday. But hopefully whenever you're listening to this, I'll be cheering you up, even if it isn't Monday. Because I'm back here again for another fun-filled Venture video. A little housekeeping to begin with. Something that was pointed out to me by Man Array of Hope 23, that I was indeed incorrect in one aspect of my recap, that Dr. Mrs. the Monarch did not sleep with Wide Whale. Instead, she offered another possible resolution. That's how he joins the Council of 13, not just because he's a number one and she wants him. And she leverages other New York Guild members to support the new council, and he gets sole arching rights to Dr. Ventures. That's why she said she had bad news for the Monarch at the end of the episode. So I was indeed incorrect about them having sex. I thought that both happened. So thank you, Man Array, for proving that I can't even do this properly. Alright, well, with that out of the way, let's talk about last night's episode, the Bellicose Proxy, in which we get a story pretty small in scale, but plenty more background information on the operations, goings-on of the Guild and OSI, and continue with the mystery of this Peril Partnership, whatever the fuck that is. We open at Guild Strategic Operations Center. Watch and Ward, the two poster boys for the Guild, are taking Monarch and 21 on a little tour through the building, showing them all of the testing rooms and experiments being tested to put out in the field, including a man who's been cosmetically altered to look like Dave Grohl. Because, I mean, no one can say no to him. I mean, he got a Beatle and King Diamond to be in his band. You get that, asshole. Gary and Malcolm have come to find a way to up their guild level with the least shitty job they could possibly find. To which Watch and Ward suggests the Big Villain program, much like the Big Brother, Big Sister program. So it's like more experienced arches teaching new villains how to do their job properly. They accept because their little villain would be none other than St. Cloud, which would allow them to arch Billy and Pete, who also live at the Ventec building. On the other side of the wall, across from a one-way mirror, Dr. Girlfriend is talking to that cybernetic mole from the Peril Partnership, attempting to get him to become a double agent. Something he's more than willing to do, because otherwise he would be charged with treason, and that would end in some pretty gnarly guild torture. So now it's like a double negative. He was a mole, he was a double agent for the Peril Partnership, and now he's going back and he's a double agent. Cut to 21 and Monarch, who are on the X2 to finally meet Augustus St. Cloud. They're a lot more excited about the craft and the memorabilia board than when the tubby rich weirdo who is once again wearing his Goldfinger beach attire he first wore in the Season 5 classic Spanakopita. They realize just who exactly their little pudgy villain was going to be, and the two are obviously less than thrilled at the prospect. And back at the Ventec building, Rusty has arrived in Billy and Pete's lab with breakfast, and finds the two hiding and cowering because they had just received their first arching notice from St. Cloud. Something Rusty assures them is standard practice and really nothing to worry about at all, since a Cloud is a pitiful, low level 1 arch. And then when they still will not believe him, Rusty has to use his watch to radio into Brock to give him the same question, and all Brock can really do is laugh, which kind of goes to show how low on the totem pole St. Cloud is, and I guess in the same token it goes to show how low on the totem pole Billy and Pete are. Back with Dr. Girlfriend, who has the paperwork all drawn up for the cybernetic man, who I've noticed a lot of you mentioning may indeed be similar to Venturestein. I don't know, I guess only time will tell with that one, because they do put a lot of little Easter eggs in there like that, but who knows if it'll come to fruition. Anyway, Dr. Z storms in and begins playing bad cop because he's apparently in the wrong interrogation room. The cybernetic man signs the paperwork, and Doctors Z and Girlfriend promise to help with his OSI love interest. But first Z says that he would need a makeover to establish his cover and we get a wonderful outfit montage, but it ends up merely being a fantasy of Dr. Z's, and the two of them say that they're not going to be doing that. Back on the X2, St. Cloud unveils his costume to Monarch and 21, who are worried that he has no ability to inflict any form of damage, since his only actual ability lies in being able to afford anything he wants, without actually having a menacing bone in his fucking body. So Monarch attempts to do the best he can with what they have and orders St. Cloud some clouds of laughing gas. Cut back to the Ventec building where Pete and Billy are being trained by Brock to keep themselves safe, which they are failing at miserably. This confrontation is going to be pretty embarrassing, creeps. On a rooftop tennis court, Monarch and 21 are attempting to run St. Cloud through the motions with his evil entrance from the fog, but are having just as much trouble as Brock and Rusty are. Both groups working so hard at this task so that they won't be embarrassed through their students of each other. Back at Guild headquarters, Watch and Ward are hacking into the OSI databanks to find information on the cybernetic man's love interest, who just so happens to be watching over a level 1 arching that day, and take a wild guess who it's involving. So they switch over the weapons from a level 1 to a level 6 to invoke an infraction to enforce her to come out into the scene. Cut to Billy's mother's house, where Colonel Gentleman is reading a book, and St. Cloud awkwardly smashes through the window, stating that he is there to bust things up and chew bubblegum, and finds bubblegum unpleasant. Billy's mother comes in to see what all the commotion's about, and once she realizes why St. Cloud's there, she pummels him. Over at the Ventec building, PY is in St. Cloud's helicopter, misting out a gas to make a threatening message, much like the one in The Wizard of Oz. Because St. Cloud has just received his souped-up ray gun from Watch and Ward. It's showtime. In front of the Ventec building, the gas has covered the whole area, and the disembodied, amplified voice of St. Cloud comes from within, beckoning Billy and Pete, who had to rent costumes at the last minute and look fucking ridiculous. The ray goes off from inside the cloud and levels a gigantic statue of Jonas Sr., leaving Billy and Pete no choice but to come out and face him. St. Cloud then takes out his super gas and throws it at Billy and Pete, but clumsily flipped his cape over his head, so all three of them are hit by the green laughing gas. After the statue snafu, the OSI woman finds Dr. Girlfriend and the cybernetic man and immediately understands, telling him that she meant what she said about him and the Peril Partnership. But Dr. Girlfriend has no patience for this, and she seems just about done with the cybernetic man and her, and attempts to help him and help herself by losing her patience and telling her that the cybernetic man is a double agent. So perhaps there is still some hope for our star-crossed lovers. And in the end, we get Billy and Pete telling the story of their arching like 15-year-olds to Hank and Dean. Because they hallucinated it like it was some fucking ridiculous thing. Like, Pete was convinced that he was whooping the shit out of him like fucking like Robert De Niro and Pesci in that scene in Goodfellas where they were stomping the guy. I think he actually says that, yeah, go get your shine box, St. Cloud. Oh man, another great episode. Small in scale, but we are definitely building up towards something. Monarch's making his way on his own. Very proud of him, and I don't know, it seems like we're actually going to get a season finale this season. Let's just wait and see. Because, I mean, if you'll remember, we did see a few weeks back that flash forward, that weird thing that they started the episode with, where the Monarch had that insane suit, 21 had that insane suit, they had that insane fucking ridiculous army with them robbing the Venture ship. I think that there's a good chance that that's where we're going to end up by the finale this season, because it seems like we're definitely building forward in that. Like I said, the Monarch is a man of he's finally off on his own, just like Dr. Girlfriend is finally. He's in the middle of that transitionary period, and she's kind of gone through it, but it looks like he's going to be off on the other side if that 2 months later flash forward is any hearkening of what's to come, because it seemed like he's at least level 7 or an 8 with all of those fucking wonderful toys. And we didn't really get anything in this episode about the Dean and Hank wedge that seems to be amplifying now that Dean is away at college with Hank's girlfriend and Hank is not there. But I guess we're going to have to wait until next week to figure out anything else about that. Until then, creeps, tomorrow is going to be a new episode of the podcast coming out where I talk about The Nun and the 60th anniversary of the Blob. So I don't think you're going to want to miss out on that. I guess maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow. And if not, Until I see you again, creeps, stay safe, take it easy, Doc out.